All right. Excuse Isaac snoring first. That's Isaac right there, snoring on me. Um, a lot of people just hit me up. Everybody's asking about my tweet. Um, my tweet was about my kids. You know, I'm not gonna say much. I'll say this. I will always be about my family. I will always be about my kids. I will never lie and tell my kids that I'm going to be home at a certain time and that we're going to spend time together and then stay out all night doing whatever the hell I want. I won't do that multiple times within a week. I will never choose alcohol over my kids. Um, it'll never happen. Now that's me. You know, like I said, I'm not going to say much. You can read between this as much, however you want. Nicole's sister turned 21 today. And they were going out for her sister's birthday. Dinner and a movie. At first, yesterday, because our kids freak out, or Isaac and Malachi freak out when she's gone for a long time. I don't know exactly. I know why. I just don't feel like saying it right now. But they freak out when she's gone for a long time. They start freaking out on me, like, hey, is mommy gone? What's going on? And I'm like, yeah, mommy's coming back. So I wanted to do something to take their mind off of it while she was out. So the idea that I had came up with was, why don't you take Samaya to the dinner, not to the movie, but just to the dinner. We can meet up and swap whatever, why don't take her to the dinner, and I'm going to take the boys to the movies. Let them choose whatever movie they want to see. Take them to the movies. Maybe even Chuck E. Cheese, whatever. We'll see how it all works out. So that was like my offer, and she was against it 100%. It caused a big argument, huge argument. She did not want to bring Samaya nowhere. Big argument, like lasted 12 hours. So it was just one of those things where I was like, okay, fine. Let's try to compromise on this. Let's try to come to an agreement on this. So I wound up keeping the kids, and we got a whole bunch of arts and crafts stuff and painting and all types of stuff. We got everything, anything you can imagine that was there for arts and crafts. We picked up glitter paint, regular paint, markers, whatever. And it was one of those things where I'm really trying to stay on the whole Christian path. You know what I mean? I have completely cut out alcohol in this house. Completely. There's no alcohol. Like, that's my number one rule, is nobody in this house will drink. Nobody in this house will be caught, doing anything that they shouldn't be doing. And the plan was that me and the kids would have our day while she went to have dinner and a movie with her sister. She said it would be about 5 hours and she'd be home at 11. Her sister was going to pick her up at 6. They'd be home at 11. So I was like, okay. Her sister wound up coming an hour late. Came at like 7. So she said, okay. I still said 5 hours, so I'll be home at midnight. And I was like, well, you said 11. the right thing to do would be to just be like, oh, you came an hour late. All right, I said 11. It's 11. I got to be home at 11. I got kids at home. I got a husband at home. She was like, well, no, I said 5 hours, so it's midnight now. I didn't want to argue because, quite frankly, I'm tired of it. I'm so exhausted of it. Like, literally, I'm so tired of arguing. And I was just like, okay, midnight, fine, midnight. She kept promising, and I promised it's gonna be midnight. She made it a point to like, go out of her way to let me know midnight, and I'm like, okay. And she was, she even went as far. She's like, if we're at dinner or if we're at the movie, and I know it's gonna go past midnight, I'll even take a Uber or a cab home, and I'll leave early. I'll leave the dinner or I'll leave the movie to make sure I keep my promise. I'll be home at midnight. So I was just like, okay, all right. So I did, the thing with the kids, man. We had a blast, and they made her these pictures. You guys seen the pictures? They made her these two big pictures, Isaac and Malachi. They drew mommy. They drew her hair, and these are big. This is like 3x3, right? It's like 3x3, 3 feet by 3 feet. So, this is like what, like what's the word? A canvas? It's like a canvas. And they were so excited. They were so excited. And it was time for bed. And I was like, all right, it's time for bed, guys. And Isaac goes, can we stay up just a little bit longer so we can show mommy our pictures because we want to surprise her? And I was like, you know what? All right. You can stay up a little bit longer. Mommy's going to be home at midnight, so stay up a little bit longer. You can surprise mommy with the pictures. They had a big plan. They literally put their pictures in a trash bag. I'll show you. There's the trash bag over there with the picture rolled up. Pictures, I should say. And their plan was to surprise her and make her think that, it was trash and have her open it up and be surprised, and it's their pictures. That was their plan. They came to me with this whole concocted plan, and I was like, all right, we'll do that. Okay, fine, we'll do it. It's cute. Okay, cool. Well, I texted it about 11:25. And was just kind of like, hey, do you need me to get the Uber? Because I'm the one that got the app on my phone, So I'm like, do you need me to get the Uber for you so you can be back at midnight? Because it'll get there about 11:40, 20-minute drive back to the house. What's going on, what do you need me to do? And she said, yeah, in a bit. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, like, in a bit? Like, what the hell? Now it's calling time, you know what I mean? So that was the last text that I got from her. That was the last text that was answered. That was the last call that was answered. At 11:35 p.m. I let them stay up until about 12:45. When I seen that this was just going to be another one of those nights, another time again, I let him know. I was like, hey, you gotta go to bed. And Isaac's just like, but remember, we're going to surprise mommy. And I just told him, I was like, well, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Mommy's supposed to be here. She's not answering texts. It's showing delivered. So I know she sees them. I know she's seen the call because it rang 2 or 3 times and it got sent to voicemail manually. And just like, it's just another one of those times, man. I'm sorry, but you got to go to bed. And like the look of disappointment on their faces, is something as a father that you just hate to see. What's up? You alright? You're drooling all over me, but go ahead, man. Drool away. Um, I hate seeing that look on their face, like legit. And he starts crying. Isaac starts crying. Malachi just looked sad. Like he just kind of looked down at the ground and just was just like sad. And Isaac starts crying, like not crying like vocal, but like I see his eyes watering up, and then like I kind of see it start to go down his cheek, and I'm just like, and I'm like, well, listen, buddy, you can show her in the morning, man. It's fine. You'll wake up. You can show her in the morning. He's like, but we wanted to show her tonight, and she said she would be home, before we go to bed, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, yeah, buddy, I know, but it's fine, man. Just show her in the morning. And they went back to their bed. I can hear him crying. And he cried himself to sleep. That's literally what he did. He cried himself to sleep. And as a father, that just hurts. That just hurts. It's now what, 2:35. We still haven't heard from her. You know. Dinner and a movie. It's just she asked me to buy her heels and all this stuff. And actually, Mike was the one that said this when I was talking to Mike. 'Cause, Mike was like, first off, dude, he's like, the reason why she doesn't want to take Samaya is because she's not going to a dinner and a movie. He's like, I'll tell you that right now. He's like, second, her wanting to buy these heels and she's wearing this tight dress and they're getting all dressed up. He's like, dude, who gets dressed up to go to a movie? And I was like, I know, man. Like, I know, but whatever. And he goes, I'm telling you right now, dude, they're going to a bar or a club. And I told him, I was like, if that's the case, that's probably going to be it. Like, that's probably going to be the last of all this. That's it. I will never, ever, I will never be that type of dad to let down my kids. And I will never be the type of husband to let down my family. I'm all about my family. 100%. And if I'm the only one that's 100% and it's getting worse and worse and worse and worse, I can't be the only one doing it anymore. Because it's just going to get worse. She got picked up at 7 o'clock. They left. The movie is 20 minutes away, the movie theater, and the restaurant's 20 minutes away because they're within the same area, hibachi restaurant. So, obviously, the excuse of it being, what was said, dinner and a movie, it's out the window. The pastor, we've been talking to a pastor I've known since age 4. He's kind of been like ministering to us and counseling us, great guy, Eugene Cooper. And he came to our house last Sunday, and he pretty much was, he was talking to us. And he talked about Nicole's sister, Cassie. Cassie was 20, she's 21 now. She doesn't work. She drops out of college, I don't know how many times now. She lives with her mom. When she's not bumming money off of her mom, she's bumming it off of her boyfriend. But that's when she's not cheating on her boyfriend. Cocaine use. Alcoholic. drinks and parties nonstop. And recently had an abortion. Couldn't keep it closed, and just didn't want the kid. Aborted it. This was like 3 months ago. And, one of the things he tried to tell both of us, he wasn't being biased. He told both of us. He said, when you hang out with people who do those type of things, whether you want to believe it or not, you start doing those things. You start acting like that. He was like, you can't expect to hang out with somebody that does these things and not be influenced. He used the term, birds of a feather flock together. And he even told her, he's like, I know she's your sister, but you may have to cut her out for the good of you and your family. That shouldn't be somebody that you should be around. And it's not. It's not. So since she's been hanging around with her sister, it's been like this, but getting worse and worse and worse. Last week we're going to get our nails done. It was the day that I was supposed to get my makeup done. Remember that day, guys? I was supposed to get my makeup done. That day. The first story that day was we're going to go to the mall. Cassie wants to go to the mall, pick up a dress for her birthday, and she wants me to go and help her pick one out. So I was like, okay. Don't forget we're streaming at 6. That's all I said. I said, don't forget, we got the big stream. You're doing my makeup. Don't forget, we're streaming at 6. And she was like, okay, yeah, for sure. I'll be home at 6. So her sister's late, as usual. Her sister picks her up at 5. 5:40, I get a text. And she's like, hey, I'm going to show Cassie the nail place because she wants to see what the inside looks like, because it's really fancy. And I'm like, okay. All right, cool. Just don't, you got 20 minutes to get home. You know what I mean? We got to do the stream. 5 minutes later, I get a text. Cassie wants to get her nails done. And I'm like, okay. And she's just like, well, she wants to get her nails done, and I'm going to get my nails done too. She's going to pay for me. And I'm like, but what about the stream? You're supposed to be doing my makeup at 6. Everybody's been waiting for this. Like, what about the stream? And she goes, I'll be home at 7. Shouldn't be long. I'll be home at 7. I said, I'm not rescheduling it again. Like, I keep rescheduling it because of stuff like this. Why can't you just make it at 6? Just tell your sister no. Why is that so hard? Just say no. Just say no. So I said, okay, fine, 7, but as of right now, I'm canceling it. I'm going to post that I'm canceling the stream. Because I already know how this stuff works out. I already know how this stuff works out. So, 7 went by, 8 went by, 9, 10, 11... 11:23. She comes rolling through the door. Hold on. Actually, she's here. Hold on. Hold up. Yeah. Do you know what time it is? What do you mean, don't even start? You said 11, then you said 12. Your phone dying does not stop you from getting home. What happened? And you've obviously been drinking. Your sister nearly just ran into our wall walking through the hallway. Was that your phone you just dropped? So you drank again. You're drunk. You can't even look at me and you can't even talk right. You're stumbling over all your words. Why do you do this? Do you know how disappointed they were? Yeah, they were. They drew you all these pictures, and they wanted to show you the pictures. Dinner and a movie does not take this long. No movie is playing at first 2:45 at night. Tell your sister, get out of my house. I'll be back, guys. It's about to get real.